If you're a motion designer, there's a good chance you've probably heard of Good Boy Ninja. If you don't know, they focus on creating quality of life tools for After Effects. Whether it be saving you time through more efficient workflows with offsetting layers and keyframes, or you just need a better wiggle expression, Good Boy Ninja covers those bases. But today we're going to be reviewing specifically their tool, Kangaroo, their automation tool for duplication and layer transformations. Now, I did receive Kangaroo for free from Good Boy Ninja for this review. That being said, I've always liked their development and tools, so overall, while we may still cover some of the challenges with the tool, in general, I believe the tools that they put out tend to be pretty high quality, albeit on first impressions can sometimes seem a bit expensive. But enough yapping, let's just jump right into this. So what is Kangaroo? Kangaroo at its core is built to make duplication and cloning more efficient. Or as Good Boy Ninja states in their documentation, when you press any of the Kangaroo buttons, Kangaroo learns about the changes you have made to your first copy and reapplies them with each new copy it creates. You may recognize this feature as duplication and transformation. Kangaroo, on the other hand, tries its best to follow your lead and follow almost any change you make. But here's my take on Kangaroo. I really enjoyed testing Kangaroo and playing around with it. I did find the documentation to be helpful, albeit I think the real gold nuggets of information are a bit tucked away in the advanced information section. There's some features like being able to type in the amount of duplications that you want, or scrolling essentially to kind of set your number. I found those to just be a little bit more helpful than rapidly clicking the Kangaroo button. Kangaroo is overall lightweight, it's easy to use, it didn't really give me very many headaches, something I'll touch on a bit later in the video. Now let's segue for a second and just kind of go over a short note here. To be honest, I really spent some time just digesting this tool and how to present it for this review. I think it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking it's a glorified duplication button, when in reality, it takes that process and adds some bells and whistles to it, and really helps accelerate other plugins' effectiveness and efficiency. In short, this tool is at its best when it's coupled with other plugins, not as a replacement for just duplication. For me, what I found was, at its core, it overcharges other plugins. To be clear, it's not a tool you're probably going to use every day, but when it comes into play, it can really save you a lot of time with tedious tasks that over the course of several projects really kind of builds up. When I first started following Good Boy Ninja's development with these kind of tools and seeing what they're putting out, I fell into the pitfall of essentially believing these are just replacements for After Effects. They're basically going in and saying, hey, After Effects isn't working correctly here. We're just going to replace this function and make it a little bit nicer. Nowadays, I don't generally think of Good Boy Ninja tools as being replacements for features in After Effects. And that's something that's kind of taken time over the years of using things like Wiggle, Skew, now Kangaroo, and other tools. Again, it's easy to fall into the mindset that these tools are premium replacements for base features within After Effects. But these tools are generally more than that overall. And again, you really see that come to fruition whenever you begin to pair it with other plugins and incorporating it in existing workflows. So bringing it all back together, what does Kangaroo do? Kangaroo duplicates layers, making it easy to duplicate a layer X amount of times. It fills the in-betweens between two different layers based on position, scale, rotation, effects like feel, color, etc. I found it supercharges Good Boy Ninja's tool Skew when paired together in the same workflow, and overall it saves time on tedious tasks over the course of various projects. The other thing I wish Kangaroo did better was I wish there was a subtractive method for reducing the amount of layers when you're creating these duplicates. If I make 10 in-betweens and I find that later I kind of just want to make 5 in-betweens instead, it'd be nice to know that after I've committed the duplication action and I moved on later to the project, that I could still come back and reduce the amount of copies if I wanted to. Something I would like to do just through Kangaroo instead of manually doing that. How much does it cost? It costs $35 or your regional equivalent. But the question is it worth it? For $35, I do think it's worth it for anybody who does motion graphics professionally, whether you're freelancing and you just have pretty good gigs going on right now, or you're working a full-time job, and that's something that the agency or company you work for could pick up. If you have excessive play money as well, and that's just something you want to do, then more power to you as well. I do think for $35, if you come in with just the mindset that, hey, this is just a glorified Control or Command D button, then it can be a little bit difficult to make that purchase. But again, the tool is at its best when it's supercharging other plugins or being a part of an established existing workflow you've developed, where this tool can just kind of come in and save you over the course of like 3 projects an hour. In that aspect over time, I don't think $35 is that big of a deal. Now that's just generally based on the US economy. If you're in a region where $35 is a whole lot for you, that could definitely be a difficult purchase. If you're in a region where $35 is not that much at all for you, or the regional equivalent, then hey, again, I think you're really gonna save some money over time using this tool for $35. If you're strictly a hobbyist, then maybe this isn't the best tool for you, again, unless you just kind of have that extra money and you want to throw it out there. But mainly, I think the professionals are the ones that are going to benefit the most from purchasing this tool. Now, if you're like, hey, Grant, how does Kangaroo supercharge these other tools? How does it even work? Well, Skew is on my review list, and I do plan to briefly touch on that as well in that review to further clarify how Kangaroo specifically helps Skew a lot when it comes to supercharging the tools when combined together. So before we end, just the last recap. Kangaroo is good. It can seem expensive if you fall within the mindset of it's just a Control or Command D button, but ultimately it's a lot more than that, and it really works at its best when it is coupled with other plugins to really work off of them and really support them. $35 is the regional equivalent for professionals, specifically if you're around the US economy levels. I don't think is that big of a purchase, and it can really kind of save you money over time. If you're in an area where economically it's a bit weaker, then it may be harder to justify that purchase ultimately. And if you're a hobbyist, you may not find the most use out of this tool. Again, unless you just have additional money you want to throw at it and try it out, and you want to force it into your workflows and things like that. But otherwise, I think professionals are really the people who are going to find the most value out of this tool. If you'll check out more about Kangaroo, you can head to goodboy.ninja/Kangaroo to see the product page and see just a little bit more information around what is it, how does it work, and things like that.